My message for you is just start. This waterfall back here didn't just be like this. It had to start from something like a little thing. That's why I call this the snowball effect. Every single one of you right now that wants to achieve something great, you got to make sure that you at least start. What's the first step? Problem is, a lot of people procrastinate. They say they'll do it tomorrow, they say they'll do it next week. So I'm going to give you some tips, some tactical things that I do that allow me to take massive action, but also allow all of you to take action as well. The first thing is don't delay, just do. Meaning, whatever you want to do, you just do it. If you want to go to the gym and you struggle to go to the gym, make sure that you just get your training gear and it's all ready, and then you just take action, you just go to the gym without even thinking about it. Now, of course, you're not going to be as prepared as if you spend a lot of time thinking about stuff, but you know what? At least you're doing something. At least you are taking a little bit of action. And a little bit of action can lead a massive way, because it's the little habits that we're building along the way. That's actually the secret to this. Because the more habits that you form, the more action that you will take easier, and the resistance starts to get removed. So whenever I'm thinking about creating these habits, I want you to also start thinking about the least path of resistance. What is the least path of resistance? What is the thing that you're going to do that is the easiest to do? People have said this to me before, John, shouldn't we start with the hardest thing first? No, we shouldn't start with the hardest thing first. We should start with the easiest things first. Because why? The easiest thing then creates and allows you to have a little bit of momentum. And it's the momentum of what you are doing that leads you to the next logical step. I want you to start, first of all, writing down what are the things that you are, or you should be doing that you're not doing. And if you watch my videos, you know I talk about this a lot. But it's knowing that things are happening and starting. Think of a lighter. You're trying to spark it, and then eventually it sparks. And then things form. Like if I look at this mountain range here right now, look at this. Right, this mountain range, yes, over years it became like this, right? It looks something very spectacular. Maybe 1,000 years from now, it's going to be even more spectacular. That's the problem with a lot of people when they start. They start with the spectacular expectation. Spectacular expectation is, I'm going to do something, I'm going to hit jackpot tomorrow. And it's like that with business. Business is like, you're not going to make $1 million over, okay, some people do. They get lucky. But honestly, for most people, that is not the norm. The second thing I want you to think about as well, if you just want to get started, look at what other people are doing. Now, I know people say, John, you shouldn't look at what other people are doing. I used to say in the past, don't look at what other people are doing and just focus on your own stuff. And that's good advice to an extent. But what happens if we want to just get some ideas? What happens if we want to do it, but we're not sure? Sometimes we need a bit of inspiration. We need help. I mean, there's a little guy, well, not a little guy here, but I don't know if you can see that, but these things live up to apparently 200 plus years. There was a flood that happened here. Little guy got flushed down. Well, it's not little anymore. Look how big it is. Can you see? By the way, the reason why he's in this place, the flood put him down here, broke his leg. Now the people have to come and get food and feed it him. So he's not going to do that by himself. Again, I've used that as an example for all of you. If you try and figure out stuff by yourself, then you're not getting the help. And when you get the help, when you get that spark of inspiration, it gives us the idea. And it's the idea forms the inception of what we need to do next. The problem with staying in procrastination, you're always locked in that. And when you're locked, you can't take action, or you feel paralyzed to take action. That's why we have this analysis paralysis idea. I want you to start thinking about all the different ways that you can find other people in what they do and then just model what they're doing. Like, even if you just copy what they're doing, I'm talking about emulating. There's a really interesting book where it talks about good artists create and great artists steal. I think that's the title. Correct me for those of you that know the actual real title of that book. It all comes down to creating the little sparks, and those little sparks become the big sparks. And that's when you start going. And you know what will happen? They'll become a tipping point. There'll come a point where you're rolling that little snowball and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the bigger it gets, the heavier it becomes. So the more you push, the more effort you're having to exert just to get similar results, or if no results, if any. But it's that big boulder, that ball is about to hit that tipping point like this. And that's the whole thing that starts off the whole process. I've been doing this for 20 years. Every time I meet somebody, it's always like, oh yeah, I'm getting started. I'm just about to start. And I meet them 6 months later and say, oh yeah, I'm just about to start. So think about the things that you want to do. Think about why you want to do them. And the third thing is start writing down the reasons of why you're doing things. What's the main reason? Why do you want it? You look at this place. I mean, sometimes if you don't want anything, you got to be inspired by something. Inspired by a friend, inspired by a mentor, inspired by a coach, just changing your environment, being around nature. I find that nature really makes a big impact for just being more creative. Like every time I get that blocked, I always want to find things that can help inspire and push me to the next level. For all of you now, if you haven't started yet, one, just start right now. One thing you can do right now. Number two, find other people around you who are doing the things that you want to do and emulate, not copy, emulate. And the third thing, this is a big one, commit to doing that thing every single day. So let me give you a strategy I use a lot called the 30-30. 30 means to do something for 30 minutes a day, every day for 30 days. That's why we call it the 30-30. 30-30 gives you momentum. It gives you what not to do, and it shows you feedback. So you're going to start getting some little results. It's the little results that make the big difference, because the fortune is in the follow-up and in the feedback. So you got to accept that feedback and you got to start doing it. And then once you start realizing that, oh my God, if I do that, I get this result. If I do that, I get this result. Oh my God. There's been so many times where I didn't want to do something, but because I committed to do it. Like, for example, my wife said, we should go to China. And we've traveled all around the world. And I didn't really fancy doing all these sightseeing and things. But you know what? When I got here, I was like, oh my God, I really love this. Like, the scenery here is just, you can see it's out of this world. And I get inspiration from ideas just by watching a waterfall. In fact, that's how I got the idea for this video. I was like, oh my God, how can this waterfall, so big, so huge, how did it even form? It had to start somewhere. And I thought, oh my God, that's the thing, that's a message that my community needs to learn, is that you got to start somewhere. Starting somewhere. Doesn't matter how good you are, how big you are, how rich you are, how famous you are. Even myself, when starting new social media platforms, so I started at John Lee Success on both Instagram and also YouTube. I started with one follower. Partly one of the reasons why I wanted to start this from scratch is I wanted to inspire a lot of you that even though I have 6 million followers on social media, I want you to know that it's possible for anybody to do this. Anybody. You watching this right now, you can do this, right? You just need to have that start. And sometimes you've got to go back sometimes to go further. I really want you to make a commitment. The one thing, find the people around you, and then also make sure that you use that 30-30 strategy. And I promise you, if you let this become a habit, it will change your life. Because you won't just do the thing that you're going to do it for. You're going to do it for everything you do in your life. You can't change one part of your life without it affecting other parts of your life. You drop a pebble into a pond, it creates ripples. Those ripples will ripple not into just your life, your kids, your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, business partner. It will feed into that. So if you got any questions, leave a comment below. Like and share this video because it just really helped the channel. I really want to help a lot of people get over this and start taking action. And also check out this video here.